All right. So another thing I wanted to talk about tonight is the fact that Trump is so obsessed with the crowd size issue, which seems so obvious with the photographic evidence, and also related to that he is persisting, in private even, about that he actually won the popular vote, which he didn't. And he can have this theory, but he's the president. He's just, this is what we've got. Now, what I think is interesting about it is that, I have been wondering, how much is Trump P.T. Barnum, and he knows what the suckers will buy. Because sometimes it seems like that and that he's savvy. But I thought he would pivot, during the general election. And then when he didn't, I thought, well, maybe he knows he can't pivot, and he's knows he's going to lose, or he has another way to win, or whatever. But so I continue to wonder, how much of this is savvy for what people will buy, but how much of this is no, he's just one of these foxheads, and he now believes the thing that has gotten him in sync with his supporters. Well, I think we're seeing now that, there's no way that it's from a political savvy that he would continue to argue about, that I could figure out, but maybe there's some crazy genius to it. Whether there were more people in two photographs that are easily compared with. If he was doing it on purpose because of the P.T. Barnum manipulative marketing effect, then what could it be that by just lying people to their own eyes, you get them to say the emperor does have clothes and so they're stronger allies? No, it just doesn't. It looks a lot more like, no, he just has, and it's not coming as a surprise to any of us, but we have had various candidates for what the fuck is going on with him. And it lends a great credence to that he's just that out of touch with reality, and he has this compulsion. He cannot let certain things go because he can't forget them in his head. And he's moving paintings around the White House, and it's fabulous and lovely, and this is the Oval Office. And he can't stand that they're saying more people went to Obama's and Reagan's inauguration. It's got to be the greatest ever, or fuck it. It's kind of like the people that say life isn't worth living because eventually you're going to die. Okay, so you got 90 years, but you eventually die, so 90 years is worthless. You have $100, but you don't have a million, so 100 is worthless. That's not how it works. How much you have of life is not a black and white. It's either zero or everything. No, it's however many years it was. But Trump is kind of like that in every respect. It's like, no, it's got to be the biggest inauguration, or fuck it. It's got to be the best, and which means that his ego is based on a presumption that he doesn't really believe, which is why he appears so insecure, that he's always done that. He always has been the best at everything he did, and that's what keeps him going. Of course, most of that is rejecting evidence of when he makes a mistake. If he loses $1 billion and doesn't pay taxes, he's smart. He doesn't pay taxes. Or he could be an idiot for losing $1 billion. And the not paying taxes could be, also a cheapskate cheater. So I think we're seeing more and more of what I think I've said all along, is that there's definitely a psychological component. But I've continued to wonder because, when you see great marketing, it's hard to know, is the person calculating that marketing approach, they understand people, or are they just the way they are and they happen to be lucky enough to be in sync with the people they're marketing to? And to me, Trump will always be, a child billionaire, a child millionaire of the greed is good era, marketing that, and the fact that he would become president is astounding. On the other hand, I don't consider myself too worried. There's some preparations to be made. I'd like to make as much money as I can before the economy collapses. Hopefully it won't collapse. Because generally I think, it's the same people here now that were here 6 months ago or 2 years ago. It's not all perfect. It's not all it's not like we're the best people. We're perfect. No, but we're average for, we're doing good compared with other groups of people around the world. But separate from that, whatever we were, a year, 2, 3 years ago, that's the same people that are here now. Everything that seems different is just, our choices and a certain amount of illusion. So, if America had a chance to survive 6 months ago when we didn't know who the next president was, then it has a chance to survive now when we happen to know. So, and it's somewhat interesting, and I have to say still, as dangerous and scary as it is, because it could get bad, I prefer it to one of the other more mainstream or Tea Party. Either one of those flavors of Republican seems just as scary. Same kind of agenda to close all of the departments and stuff. And now at least we have it obvious, and there's a sort of an honesty to that, even though they're far from honest. I mean, it's crazy though. This has been the most packed political. It's just, by political news standards, it is astounding the rate at which stuff you can't ignore that is crazy is coming out. Canceling a meeting with Mexico, threatening we might as well cancel it then. And then the Mexican guy goes, okay, canceled. It's like, oh, well, I'm going to have to go another way. 20% tariff. Well, that's just an option. Sean Spicer, just an option, actually. He just said that's one of the options. It's like, by political standards, this is batshit crazy and highly entertaining. Somewhat scary, but, if it gets people to pay more attention to politics, then, Jimmy Dore would be right. So I reserve judgment on that, but seems possible.